Pet overpopulation. One of the major causes of domestic animal overpopulation are pet owners who permit their dogs and cats to roam freely and remain unaltered. We do love our pets, and most of us try to do the best thing for them. The number one thing we can do is to spay and neuter our dog or cat, stopping them from reproducing an unwanted litter, and increasing the lifespan and health of your beloved family member at the same time. Adopting from a local shelter rather than buying from a pet store can help more than you think. We've all heard the horror stories about puppy mills. They exist and they are cruel. Purchasing from a breeder is not rescuing that puppy, it is perpetuating a loathsome trade. Trap, Neuter, Return, or TNR, is a proven method to humanely control the growing population of feral and abandoned cats. Traps are placed where colonies of feral cats are under the watchful eye of caretakers who provide food and shelter and monitor the cats for illnesses and injury. Without intervention, the number of cats in these colonies would increase exponentially, as each female produces approximately 10 kittens every year. After TNR, cats have longer, healthier, and less stressful lives, and TNR programs decrease costs for local shelters by not having to intake, house, feed, and euthanize a never-ending parade of feral cats. TNR advocate Glenda Sparnroft has made it her mission to help feral cats directly by instituting TNR programs herself and by teaching others how to start programs in their own neighborhoods.
I started doing TNR a few years ago, probably 8 years ago, at a place where my husband used to work, and they had a big colony. And I ran out of friends who wanted kittens, so we knew something had to be done. Back in New York, we had to take a TNR workshop, and we got certified in TNR, and that gave us access to free spay and neuter appointments. The colony of 17 was TNR'd in about 2 months. And to date, all newcomers have been TNR'd, and there have been no more kittens for years. And to the best of my knowledge, by now, which is about 8 years later, the colony has only got 2 cats there. After we moved to Florida, it was quite apparent that there was quite a need for TNR down here, and the place is just overrun with cats and kittens in different communities. So I started doing TNR down here to try to help even just our neighborhood. Then I decided that because of the situation, and I actually couldn't afford to help as many people as I wanted, I decided that it was time to try to start a nonprofit so we could get some funding and donations so that we could continue our work. We've had very much success down here. We're trying to keep on top of a few colonies for a lot of people. We try to help the disabled and the elderly who cannot do it themselves. And then we offer coaching for anybody who wants to take on the TNR process themselves. We'll show them how to use the traps and everything, and do the aftercare and whatever else is involved in what they want to do. Occasionally when we do TNR, we do find a very friendly cat. It's either lost or abandoned, and what we tend to do then is we pull it from that colony and we work with several rescue groups and have them help us find a home for that animal. We work with several fantastic rescue groups that usually help us very well. We seldom have to leave a friendly on the street.
As soon as the feral cats have been trapped, they're covered to keep them as calm as possible. Following surgery, they'll spend one additional night in captivity for observation, and then they are not just released into the wild, but are returned to their colonies. These cats are not pets, but neither are they wild animals. They live in supervised colonies where they are provided food and shelter and are monitored for signs of illness. When arriving in surgery, the cat is confined to one end of the trap, and an intramuscular shot of injectable anesthesia is given in the cat's thigh. After a few minutes, the cat is asleep. The cat is then examined to determine its sex and whether it is healthy enough to undergo a surgical procedure. It is prepped for surgery and monitored during the entire procedure. Male cats are castrated, and females have an ovariohysterectomy performed. The surgery, medications, and protocols are all exactly the same that your pampered pet receives at your trusted veterinarian's office. After surgery, the cats are given vaccinations, antibiotics, and dewormer. Then the tip of the left ear is clamped off, surgically removed, and then cauterized. This allows easy field identification of feral cats that have already undergone these procedures, so they do not have to be repeatedly traumatized by being caught and anesthetized unnecessarily.
There is a definite need for TNR, and it is the best solution for the cats on the street. It's the most humane solution, and it's the most effective solution, and it's what we believe in doing.
Rusty and Jack Castano offer a very unique sanctuary just outside the Everglades. After spaying, neutering, and a health check, cats are released into this free-roaming sanctuary. There are places to climb so they stay high and dry during any flooding. Cats are provided safety, food, water, friends, and freedom to roam. These cats will live out their natural lives without a worry. And isn't that what every cat needs?
We started out with a simple 6 cats that needed a place to stay. So what we did was we kind of looked around us and decided that because of what we were faced with, we had to make the cats safe, but yet keep them in their own environment. So we built an enclosure that was attached to our lanai, and attached to that was the catwalks. And since then, we've attached 4 catwalks to 4 different enclosures that all connect to the house, so the cats can come and go as they please 24/7. Still be safe, still be outside in the elements, but protected. We have a plethora of wild animals, anything from wild boar to panther, alligators, coyotes, you name it, we've got it. We have a panther preserve not too far from us. We have alligators right behind us in our pond. So we have a lot of predators to deal with. So the safety of our cats comes first, which is why we, again, built the enclosures in the design that we did. So the catwalks serve multiple functions. The main thing is for the cat's safety and helps them move all throughout the facility. We have just over 200 feet of catwalks that connect all 4 enclosures to the house. So the cats can basically come and go as they please, when they please, 24/7. The catwalks also serve as a safety feature because we down here in swampland tend to get pretty much flooded for 4 to 6 months a year. So it keeps the cats off the ground high and dry, as well as safe from predators. We also can use a functionality as far as using our gate rates. And this neat contraption will actually section off any section of the catwalk whenever we need it, whether it's medication day or we need a cat to integrate. We can easily section off any part of the enclosure or any part of the catwalks with these gate rakes. So it has a lot of different functions. I think more than anything, it's just fun for us. But as you can see, the cats enjoy it. It gives us lots of entertainment, keeps the cats safe, happy, healthy, and it's fun, and it's practical. I think one of the things that amazed me the most down here is how quickly the ferals reproduce. 2 can turn into 4, 4 can turn into 6, 6 can turn into 12 in a matter of weeks. It's absolutely amazing. And what I think people don't realize is that how quickly they can reproduce between themselves. Litter mates can reproduce. You take a mama cat and her kittens, and then her kittens can have kittens, and then those kittens can turn around and have kittens. And by the end of the year, you can have hundreds of kittens from one single family of feral cats. If you put that all together and think about your area and my area and all the areas around the United States and abroad, think of the vast number of ferals that are in this country, in our world. The numbers are astronomical. That's why we do what we do. But it's all been worth it because now all the cats are safe and we've got lots of extra space to hold more cats as they come. We don't ever need to go looking for cats. They find us.
The life of a feral dog versus that of a cat is definitely much harder for the dogs. They can't find things to eat as readily as the cats. They don't adjust to being on the streets as well. Plus there's a much more stigma, I think, of a dog on the streets with no owner, no tags, no vaccines. I think people are more likely to be much more frightened of them than they are of a cat, and they'll end up in dire straits that way. Plus the predators, cars, the life of a feral dog is much, much abbreviated than it is for a dog that's got a home. Homeless domestic animals, dogs and cats out in the wild are going to come across a lot of wild animals. And in none of those situations is it going to be a positive outcome. Either the wild animal wins or the domesticated animal wins, but it's a lose-lose situation for everybody involved. Some of Florida's bigger predators, the bears, alligators, panthers, that sort of thing, are going to be preying on domestic feral cats and dogs. One of the more prevalent species right now, especially in the urban setting, are the coyotes, which are an invasive species, but they are very aggressive to the smaller dogs and cats that are on the streets now. And they can be quite decimating to those animals. People really need to consider that bringing a pet into their home is a lifetime commitment for the life of that pet. And if something does happen, and things happen, they just need to make sure that that pet has other accommodations. Don't just dump it out in the street. Don't just let it go. Don't let your animal breed thinking that you can place a few puppies or kittens because it's the puppies and kittens that progeny has, and on and on and on. It's very important for people to think ahead, plan ahead, and really consider that these are living beings, with thoughts and feelings, and we just have to be cognizant and mindful of what's going to happen with them.
Not all children love their pets like these boys do. Children who grow up in abusive homes often become abusers. Eric Hoffer, a trained psychologist and prison interrogator, understands all too well how innocent animals can fall prey to human bullies when children lack compassion for life.
Animal abuse is a learned behavior. It's not something that people are born with. I believe it's a result of just a deviant behavior by people that have no empathy, no compassion for life, and are the types of people that pick on the vulnerable. They're the types of people that would hurt an animal, or the same types of people that might hurt a child. Bullies start from when they're young, and when children are bullies, they pick on the least able to defend themselves. Animals are the least able to defend themselves of anyone that they're going to come in contact with. They don't fight back. They don't have hatred in their makeup. So their love for humans allows them to come into the picture and then be abused by these people who have that type of a deviant behavior. Once an animal is abused, it's very difficult to get that animal back into a good adoptable pet. And those animals, many of them, wind up being euthanized. When you have a family that has no empathy, a family that doesn't teach their children to have compassion, you have a situation that is ripe for animal abuse. Once a person is abusing an animal, they also would tend to abuse each other. And that's why you find the prisons full of people that have done animal abuse in the past and have moved up towards people abuse and moved up towards even taking a life.
Sadly, most homeless dogs have been discarded by their families for some reason, but these dogs can make wonderful companions for the right person if given the chance. James Case not only found a new friend at the shelter, but a meaningful new vocation. Gracie goes from homeless to hero, thanks to a community that does not turn its back on homeless pets.
Gracie was found 2.5 years ago wandering the streets of Punta Gorda, Florida by the animal control people, the sheriff's department. She was taken to the local shelter where, that's where I met Grace, and within a very short time I took her home to foster her, and that lasted about a day, and then I went back and adopted her. Our main duty, or our main mission, is that we search for missing and lost people 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. And we do it free of charge. And basically we work for law enforcement, the military, state officials, federal officials, and for private individuals that would have particular interest in finding someone. Much of our work is done for human remains detection, and the other part is, of course, for live finds, where little Timmy runs off from the campground and is lost. We'll send out a complete team and hopefully locate that person in a very short period of time. And we also work cold case files, a lot of police cold case files, where the person, they have new information where a body might be, and they'll ask us to search an area, and we've actually had tremendous success doing that. Just recently we found a man that was murdered 35 years ago and was buried, and our canine teams found that individual. And so we're pretty proud of what we do, but it's really all up to the dog. We have training 2, sometimes 3 times a week that is official training, and then we also train daily individual dog handlers and their dogs. They spend days working on obedience and just spending time together so that we get a special relationship with each other. The dogs know exactly what they're doing. A lot of the training is working with the handlers and giving us the ability to read the dog and have the dog be able to read us, and that seems to be the whole secret to what we do. Grace and I and our whole team, we are helicopter deployable through the local sheriff's department. That took a 3-week training period last summer where the dogs were trained on how to get into a helicopter, and we are deployed in very remote areas where, it's kind of interesting. The dogs have to be muzzled and they have to wear goggles for the protection of the pilots. And after a couple days of training and jumping up on picnic tables like this, which are about the same height of a Huey, the dogs were real excited, and we loaded up 5 dog teams, and out in the middle of the woods we went. They dropped us off. We had to hike 2 miles to an area where we were searching for some human remains that were placed there for our training. And while I looked at it, it was an awesome experience and job, and Grace just thought it was great fun, and within minutes, in this very, very large area, Grace had found what she was looking for. The helicopter came in, picked us up, took us back. All of our dogs are cross-trained in human remains and live tracking. And to do that, they have to be certified by a national organization. And we use the North American Police Work Dogs Association, which is the national certification. The dogs have to be evaluated and trained and tested. It's very extensive, and then they are certified. And when we go assist police departments and law enforcement throughout the country, mostly in South Florida, they require that all of our dogs meet those standards. Grace's life was saved by local animal control and the local shelter. And I know that she knows that she's giving back to help find lost and missing persons. She has been successful at it, she enjoys it, and the valuable asset she is to the community would never have occurred without the understanding and the help of many, many people that found her and made an effort to save her.
Hello, my name is Dr. Schnippet, and I'm here to tell you how to prevent the heartbreak of the pet hanky-panky, if you know what I mean. Because when the pets make the hanky-panky in the yard or the street, it often results in the little ones being born with no food, and no shelter, and no love. Very sad lives. But you can have your pet painlessly spayed or snipped by your local vet or participating animal shelter. Because fixing your pet is the only sure way to prevent the heartbreak of the pet hanky-panky.